Hello. Where's my camera? Uh, Hello. Hope everyone's having a good day. Today I'm going to be working more on my game called Conjurance. It's a real-time tactics, kind of an auto battler. It's something in between Clash Royale and Teamfight Tactics, where you're fighting an opponent and you have cards and you can place the cards in the battlefield, and the cards come alive and they start marching forward, and the goal is to basically destroy the enemy tower. That's the goal, but the gameplay is more focused on the units fighting. So it's a tactics game. The positioning of your units, the timing of when you place the units down, like the composition, which units you decide to put down, which units you decide to add to your deck. These are all affecting the result of the game, which my goal as a designer and the developer is I want to have a game right in the middle of Clash Royale and TFT, where it's not entirely focused on capturing the enemy tower. That's the goal. That's one part of the game. But at the same time, it's a lot more focused on the battle side and the tactics and just like the tactics that you come up with. Today, let me pull up my Trello board. Oh, where is it? There it is. So yesterday I did the flow field. I was having problems with it. It was it was a stupid little bug that I had to fix, and now it's working well. So the flow field pathfinding algorithm is out of the way. I've started working on the unit movement script, which we're going to be continuing today. And I've also decided the attributes for the 12 conjurants. So that's finished. And let me show the attributes to you guys. Where is it? There we go. I have these attributes: health, speed, attack range, attack speed, attack damage, and attack radius. And they all can either be basically slow or fast, high or low. So like health, if you're a fighter, you have lower health. If you're a tank, you have higher health. Speed, if you're light, you have more speed. And if you're heavy, you have less speed. If you're melee, you have less range, basically. And if you're ranged, you have more range. So I represent those options as a minus or as a plus. If it's a minus, for example, if health is minus, that means you have less health. If your speed is a plus, that means you have more speed. If it's a minus in the attack range, you have less range, more speed, more damage, less radius. That's the idea. And I decided on 12 units for the game. I'm a solo developer. It's hard. Like the hardest part of game development for me is the art part and 3D modeling, colors, concept art, animation, sound design. There's so much that goes into it, so I don't want to have a ton of units that I have to create. So I decided on 12 because it's not too much, but at the same time it's not too little, so that the game is like it's the same game over and over and over again. I want there to be some kind of variety to it. So I thought 12 was a good point. How I came up with this number is I wanted to have I want the players' decks to be 6 cards. And because I want it to be like a more compact Clash Royale, like a smaller version of it. And later on I can maybe increase it if I see that 3 or 6 cards don't work. But how I decided on 12 units is there's going to be 6 cards in your deck, and that means there are 6 cards that you're not using. That's 6 cards that you can later on replace the cards the cards in your deck with. So there's still some overhead, there's still some variety, but you're not forced to use a single type of deck. So I just like multiplied it by 2, and I got 12, and that's how I decided on 12 cards. But yeah, these are basically the attributes for each card. C1 is it's a fighter with high speed, low range, melee, high speed, high damage, and single target. And you can like read these for yourself. You can pause the video and read it, or screenshot it or whatever. But I kind of decided on some units. The last 3 are tanks. I have a fast tank. I have a ranged tank. And I have like a regular tank. So yeah, I decided on 3 tanks. I decided on 2 ranged fighters. One of them has like area damage. The other isn't. They both have high damage. One of them is slow. One of them is fast. Like I just because right now like I don't know how exactly these characters are gonna look like. But I still wanted to create some kind of variety, some kind of like unique variety by defining these attributes, and that's exactly like what I did. So I decided my attributes for the 12 conjurants. I'm working on this. Why are they invading? So I'm in the process of creating the theme, the setting, and the story. I have some ideas in mind. I have wrote down some stuff, but I'm still developing it. Like I still haven't fully created a story, and that's what I will be working on later. Create Sentinel script, do game design, do theme. What's possible? There's magic in the world, in the Conjurance world. I also have some idea of what I want to have, what the magic should be capable of. For example, like the core mechanic of the game is conjuring units into the battlefield. That's where the name comes from, Conjurance. And that's possible with magic. But I don't want the magic in my game to be like spiritual. I want it to be very physical. Like I guess like how in like Avatar the Airbender, The Last Airbender, it's basically magic, but they can like control elements with it. They control material, right? Physical stuff. Rather than like the magic coming from within, from like some kind of spiritual power. It's more like manipulating what's already there. And the core mechanic, which is conjuring. So to make conjuring possible, I created this material. I called it amber, and it's the source of power in this world. It's the source of the magical power in the world of conjurance. That's where all the magic comes from, basically. And my idea is somehow there's these people called blood forgers. I used to call them sentinels, but I'm thinking of changing their names, because sentinels to me doesn't sound very like magical. there's these people called blood forgers, and they use amber to shape the amber or the material around them to form bones and flesh and blood, and just like form the being and conjure it basically. So it's not like the beings or the creatures that blood forgers conjure just come out of thin air. It's more like they're made from this material, this like powerful magical material, and they form in a very like scientific way. It's not magical. It's more it actually like makes sense in the world, or it makes sense scientifically. Where okay, this amber material has it's still magic. Like in the context of the world, it's still magic. But behind the scenes, okay, it has somehow all the materials required to create this creature, and the blood forgers are able to use this material to conjure the creature. That's the idea. And where is it? Is it this? I called it biomagic. I didn't have. I feel like it kind of gives the correct feeling of like what I'm trying to vision here. But yeah, I feel it might be too bio and less magic. But I don't know. This is like the terminology I used. Biomagic. Anyways. Okay, so this is my script for the units. The units movement is going to be handled by this script. I should probably change this to like conjurance movement script or something. Conjurant movement. Okay, let's call it conjurant movement. That. And then we can create another script called conjurant, which manages all the subscripts, like the movement script, the flow field unit, etc. But yeah, so what we want is we want them to go forward, which we're already doing. Initially, go forward. Then we detect a target. We check if there's line of sight. Check line of sight. Or maybe we can simplify it, and then later on, if we need to, we can implement it. Because I know I wrote and I spent so much time on the flow field, but I might just throw it away. Because I thought I needed it. Then I thought maybe I don't need it, but I already wrote all the code, so I kind of finished it. But I might just put it aside to use later on a different project. I won't like completely delete it, but I might not use it for this project. We detect a target, and then we move to target until we're in range. And stop. Okay. We can speed. We can do a private, or export a private Boolean Private Boolean team, maybe. Oh, create a new script. 100. Or hold on, what? Okay, let's just do this. Conjure private Boolean goes upwards. Equals true. And if this is true, they're gonna go upwards. If it's false, they're gonna go downwards. I need this because the player's units are gonna go upwards while the enemy units are gonna go downwards. Yeah. And we have speed. Public speed. I think I can use a Godot resource. Where's my? Hold on, I gotta open this through Godot. I forgot because I open VS Code and I start coding there, and then I open Godot, and then from Godot, if I try to open a file, it creates a new VS Code window, and I have two windows for no reason. Fix dependencies. Okay, I didn't like that way I changed the file name. Close that. There. Okay. Open this up. All right. Okay, I can create. What is this? Which one's the right? Which one's the true one? But conjurant. I know resources are like data tables in Unreal Engine, or that's what I read. So I'm hoping this is pretty straightforward. Resource. Scripts are resources. Or are they? Yeah, they're all resources here. You can make a JSON. I don't know actually how. Oh, data. This guy's actually making like a UI. Let me go on Discord and Oh, by the way, I'm uh I'm writing my Discord server's link to the chat. If you like the stream, if you like the game, you can just you can watch me on Twitch and YouTube. Uh, but also you can join my Discord server where I'm very active. You can come in and chat with me. And you can more closely follow the development of my game. Yeah, while we wait, I'm not gonna wait for people to answer me. I'm gonna go and try to see how this works. Let me go on Godot resource, see what a resource actually is. We focused on node. There's another data type that is just as important, resource. Resources are data containers. They don't do anything on their own. Anything Godot saves or loads from disk is a resource. That's what we need. Have texture, script, mesh animation, font translation. So I'm thinking we can just create a resource. We can have some variables in that resource, and then we can load it like this, and then read from that, and then assign our like speed and health and stuff. I don't know. Users can only import these assets as a dictionary or as a file access to parse. Sets resources apart is their inheritance of object, ref counted, and resource. Okay, that's what I need. Bot stats. Anyway, bot stats. It should appear in your file tab with the full name botstats.tres. Add a script. It's useless. So let's add some data and logic. Attach a script to it. File bot stats resource, and then create some variables here. Sub resource. What is this? String bot stat. Here no. Stats, and then they export the stats. Okay, let me try this. Create resource. Call it Conjurant stats. Save, and then okay. So now I can't even edit this, and I can attach a script to it. Okay. Create new. Let's attach a script here. New C# script. Where did it save it? What? Quick load. Do I need to create one right here? Create new script. Sharp doesn't need to be a note. It's supposed to be a resource. Yeah. Ref counted. Resource. There we go. And let's call this conjurant. Conjurant. That's yeah. Template. Empty. Sure, why not? I can just copy paste from the website. Using Godot. And then they made a namespace. I don't need that. But I probably need this global class specifier. Public partial class, conjurant stats, resource. The rest seems to be good. And we export. So what do we need? Where is my obsidian? I need health. Public or private. Doesn't need to be public. Public read only, maybe? Does that work? Probably doesn't. Whatever. Private int. Private float. Be a float or an integer? Having a float won't hurt. I don't think so. But yeah, get set. Private float health. And then what else do we need? Private speed, float, speed, and then get set. Can we put default values for these? 100 health. 50 speed. Export. Does the default value make sense to have? I think it does. And 9 character body 3D name bot character body 3D resources. That's okay. I'm just trying to understand. Do I need to create a script that extends from this? Like, what if I want to have them all in one script and read it from there? I actually used it. Anyway, it's speed, attack, range. So private, float, attack range. Get set. And then the default range can be 100. Then we can have attack speed. This can be we can do it like attack speed, so higher is faster. So it's not an interval. Attack per second, maybe. Attack speed per second. No, attacks per second. Attacks per second. I think that works. Attacks per second. 1 attack per second. Default, that's a good number. And then attack damage. So this is the game design, like the math part of game design. If most units have 100 health and they're attacking once per second, if they deal 1 damage, that means they're going to kill the enemy in 100 seconds, and that's crazy. If they're dealing 10 damage, that means they're gonna kill the opponent in 10 seconds. Five is 20 seconds. Let's do the default damage 5 because it's not only going to be one enemy fighting one of your allies, there's going to be multiple units and there's going to be a lot more damage dealt. So they're going to die a lot faster. Attack damage and attack radius. Default 1. Okay. Oh. New resource and 100 stat. No? How does this work? How does this work? Oh, I didn't attach it. Code 100. Okay. Oh, okay. And that means I can now create a conjuring stats resource. Key. Basic guy, basic unit. What can he be called? Let's just call him like default unit maybe. We already have a default stats. Let's call knight, soldier, knight stats, knight conjurant stats. Okay. And then I can go here and I can change this now. So that. Okay. Okay, I like that. I can create a new folder, call this conjurant stats. Put all that stuff in here. Okay, knight conjurant. Okay, so the knight is our default unit, basically like the not the default, but the like the basic unit. It has 100 health, 50 speed, 100 range, deals or attacks once per second, deals 5 damage, and it's a single target. Attack. How do I define this? Conjure stat. Move this in there too. Let me change this to like a -1. So -1, anything below 0, I guess, or anything below 0 and 0 would be a single target. And everything above that would be area damage. Okay. Now what? Now I can create a conjurant script. Node. Sure. No default. Okay. Yeah. Nothing. Bro, why do I keep getting 2 VS codes? Stats, conjurant. Okay. This one takes in export. Why is it complaining? Declaration. What are you talking about? Private conjurant stats. And then let me just thank this guy. I asked on Discord and this guy helped me figure out resources. And then we're gonna need a conjurant movement script. We'll probably need like an attack script. Maybe the attack script would be in this or the logic. I don't know yet. But I need to somehow like communicate between my scripts. And I don't know how to do that. But for now, on ready, unlike on ready, we can go to movement equals, or hold on, what? Or movement. Okay, yeah. Movement. We can do movement equals new. Can we do movement equals new movement? That's probably not needed. We can probably just go here, conjurant movement. That's yes. Oh my god. I have so much code. So many files. Okay, that looks better. We can probably go here and create a function to like initialize all of our values. I'll call this public void initialize stats. Initialize stats. It can take in, what does it need? Pool goes upwards. float speed. And that's it for now, I think. Yeah, I think so. So this dot goes upwards, goes upwards. This dot speed, not called speed. Hello, public speed. What? Am I crazy? What? This dot speed. Okay. It's a constant. Why is it a constant? Public speed equals speed. Okay. All right. I'll look at this script. Looks equals to 0. And then here, movement dot initialize stats. And we can do stats dot. Let's check for stats first. If stats equals null, turn. Or maybe we can just like default to the default, or what's it called? Default to the default stats? Default to the original stats? Stats equals conjurant stats. Conjurant stats. I guess that's how it works. I don't know. But okay. Stats dot. Oh, because they're private. I can't find them. Can't read them. What's private? Make that public. There. And here I can now read speed. Movement speed, and then that. Oh, hold on. That's the second argument. The first one is wait, how do I do this? Am I supposed to have like a team boolean? Okay, for now let's just have a boolean. I'm thinking too ambitious. Like what I was thinking just now is my game is gonna have only two factions, two teams, basically, the player and the enemy. But what if I had a third one? Like, am I in the future? Am I gonna make a third one? Because if I make a boolean can only have two values, and I would limit myself to having only two teams. But I'm just gonna make a boolean, and I'm gonna stick to having two teams only. Make this public, sure. Boolean team is player. what was my terminology? Mobile present. Is players conjurant, or just is players? Is play is player owned? Player owned. Okay. True. Then here we pass is player owned. Speed 0. Okay. All right. I want to organize my files a little bit. Or hold on, I gotta open my door. I call this gameplay. Gameplay. Conjure framework. I'm gonna put thematic in there. My rule book. Presences. I think that's it. Card player. No. On gameplay. Have any logic in this? I don't. I'm just gonna delete this. I wish it would like I'm clicking delete. It's giving me a confirmation. It's nice, but it's I wish it wrote like, are you sure you want to remove the Sentinels folder? Instead of just saying, are you sure you want to remove this folder? Because I'm like, I always have to like quadruple check before I delete stuff. 100 stats, 100 CS, 100 movement. Ogre. Give me a second. Cat was itching his ear. I went and helped him out. It's almost 2 p.m. I can work a bit more. Hold on, let me look at my board. Create unit movement script. That's still in progress. Let's add some extra D800 script. Create attack logic script. Not in progress set. Game design to do with the magic. Why are they invading? Don't you have these like different colors? Change list color. I have to upgrade. Whatever. Game design. Game design. What do I have? What have I not thought of? Oh yeah. So the core mechanic of the game is the skirmish, which is like you actually like go into battle. You have a deck of 6 cards, and then you put your cards onto the battlefield, and they go and fight. That's the core mechanic. I'm thinking of having like a very light management, like overworld management mini game kind of thing. It's and what I'm thinking of having is I don't want to add any more mechanics, any more resources, any more uh, stats and things you have to manage into the game, any more than just picking which battle to go to. And that is what I'm thinking. I want to have a game where you decide, or an overworld where you decide which battles you take and which ones you don't. And basically, it'll require some thinking, so it's an actual game, but it doesn't take the spotlight away from the actual battles. That's the kind of game I want. So, design overworld. I'm going to call it a mini game. How does skirmishes tie into, or how does overworld mini game tie into the skirmishes? Those are some things. Then our theme. What am I working on? Setting. What is the setting? I'm working on that right now. And what is the story? I really wish I could color code these. Or at least like tag them somehow. Or by watch move all cards unless that card. I guess I can just like do this. So coding. Entrance script. That's coding. Setting as theme. And these were coding, game design, ED. These are all theme. 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 Game design. Game design. Coding. All right, like that. So ones that start with C is coding, ones that start with GD is game design, ones that start with T is theme. And right now I'm looking at what the setting is. Right, the setting. So I changed it a bit since yesterday. I changed the names again. I changed the setting overall. I didn't change the setting, but the text. Um, I made it basically more. Feel like I made it more interesting to read. More. Um, what's the word? More exciting, maybe. But yeah, ages ago, the nomads of Tepra have crossed the abyssal rift. That's a new name that I might change later on. Um, Ages ago, the nomads of Tepra have crossed the abyssal rift and formed the nation of Venelit. Today, they've crossed it once again with the intention to conquer. So, the nomads of Tepra, these are Tepra is a continent with rich with amber, and amber is again like the source of the magic. And the nomads of Tepra are uh, people who have had a tight bond with amber and with magic. And years ago, ages ago, they basically moved out of Tepra. They crossed the abyssal rift, which is a huge gap between Tepra and this island, basically. And they formed a nation there. So they abandoned their nomadic lifestyle and they formed a nation, and they formed the nation of Venelit. And today, um, they are trying to expand, and they've crossed it again, and they're trying to conquer the nations that are in Tepra, which I'm thinking about 3 nations. And that's the setting so far. I'm trying to decide on like a political setting between the nations of Tepra. Um, they can be either like in good standing, they can be peaceful, or I'm thinking they can have like no respect for each other. Um, they despise each other, something like that. And I'm thinking this. I'm trying to decide based on my game which setting would create a more attractive game, right? Or more, which setting would be more suitable for my game. It will be a lot simpler if there's only the 2 nations in the game. Um, but also it could be a lot more interesting to manage manage fighting and defending against multiple nations. So the nations of Tepra, and the nations so far, there's Dokona, there's Anadon, and that's it. I came up with 2 nations. I named them based on how I thought their cultures would be, how their language would look like. So Anadon is, they're more, how do I say this? Let me compare Anadon and Dokona. These guys they're not barbaric, but they honor power. They're very tied into um their culture. And these guys are more like royal to their throne, basically. And that's like the basic idea I have for these two nations. Venelit, like I said, they came from Tepra. They used to have a nomadic lifestyle, but they crossed the gap, the rift, and they formed the nation of Venelit. So, and the nomads had strong ties to magic. They used to use magic a lot, but over the time, of course, magic died down. But Venelit is still the best, like the place you can find magic easiest, basically. So if there's any magic in the world right now, it's probably in Venelit. So the nations of Tepra. Let's just write these down so they're in my mind. The nations of Tepra. More. If they are not peaceful to each other, what does that do for us? It makes it because so it makes it so they're gonna be like fighting or battling each other. Maybe constantly, maybe they are in a war, or maybe it's just like on and off. Or smaller like skirmishes and battles and stuff. But my problem is there's this invading country. There's this unstoppable force that's trying to conquer the entire continent. And you can't just ignore that and keep fighting with the nations that you have problems with. You have to somehow work together and have some kind of peace to fight against the invaders. But that doesn't fit my gameplay. Or you know what? Maybe it does. Maybe it's up to the player to make peace with these nations and then fight against Venelit. Maybe I can make that into my game. Because I was trying to make my setting fit my gameplay, but maybe I can just write down the setting and then make my gameplay somehow fit that setting. Change my gameplay a little bit so that it fits it. So how would that look like? Let me pull up Paint. So I'm gonna use purplish blue. So this is water. Let's make some land. A good color for land. Sure, why not? I was thinking Tepra would look something like this. Or hold on. Maybe something like this. A huge puzzle piece. Oh my god. What the heck? Okay, whatever. And then here at the bottom, there would be something like that. I mean, I don't know. I'll figure it out later. But that would so this would be Tepra. Let me write it like this. Tepra. And this would be the island. Venelet is located here. They basically have the entire island to themselves. And Tepra has 3 or 4 nations. Maybe we can do something like let's that's one. Let's call this Anadon A. And then the big like powerhouse, the powerhouse Dokona can be. I want them to like have so much land. Like I want them to be the like the most powerful one um in the continent. Like that. Now we can divide this tiny land into 2. And okay, hold on. So I was thinking maybe you could be playing as a commander in Anadon, and you want to manage all these countries, like your relations with these countries, and you want to go into battle. Choose which battles you go to. I want Anadon to have to share borders with all of them, and these borders are tiny. I want to share some more borders, larger borders. So let's do this. Maybe like this. That. Something like this. And then these guys. That doesn't feel right though. I'm gonna make this the other way around. Because you have this like you're a powerhouse, like you're a very strong nations, and you're not gonna just let these guys have this tiny bit of land. Are you? I don't know. I'm not a I'm not like Genghis Khan. I don't know how it works. How about we have this? Doesn't look too bad. And then I also I thought of some, what's it called, like a land uh formation, where this isn't like it's not like a river, but instead it's actually enclosed, and there's waterfalls on both ends, and then they like meet in the middle, and then like stuff happens here. Yeah. Because I don't want it to just be a river where they just like, oh, there's a like a river across. I want it to actually be some like an interesting land formation here. Hmm. Like that. Okay. This is D. These other two nations can be come up with a name for these. We have D, we have A, we have V, and then can we have DAV? We use T on Tepra, A on Abyss, and Amber. Maybe P for one of them, and then what's N, W, Q, A, S, D, Z, X, C, E? No. M. Okay. P and M. How did I choose P and M? The only time I've ever used P in any of my words is Tepra, so it's pretty rare. I haven't used M in any of my land location names, so M is also good. And the reason I'm trying to analyze which letters to use for my names, I want them to be unique. I want them to be memorable. And I don't want words to clash. Like, if I have Anadeln, and then if I have Anna Beln, like, that's not good naming. It can be a it can be a reality. You can name something that way. It can be named that way. But this is a video game. It's a world, and I have full control over what the names are, and I can make them more memorable. I can make them more unique. So I choose to do that. Just like how I can choose to name, okay, there were two countries and their names literally were the same but one letter. It's my creative choice. So P, Pyro. M. Mont. Mount. Mont. Mont. So we got the like the uh kind of barbaric guys. We got the like the royal guys. Got the pyro guys and the like the monastery guys, I guess. Is that how you write it? Monastery. Pyro. So like the powerful guys, the royal guys, the magic guys, the guys who are tucked away, and we got the crazy guys. I'm just writing these words because this is what I resonate with, what I have imagined for these people. These are the words that resonate with them. And I want to take these words and manipulate them in a way that would still keep the core feeling of the word, but it's different. But it fits the world of conjurance. It's not just copy pasted by something else. It's unique. It's memorable. Those are the things I'm looking for. I'm going to start with this monastery. Monmas. Mon. Like, for example, this. I took mont and monastery and I just like put them together kind of. I removed some letters. I manipulated in a way where it sounds like that, but it's not that. And then one thing I pay attention to is like in some languages you can have HK consonants together and then doch ko anadeln ln. In some languages that's not very that doesn't occur so much. So for Venelit I kept it away. This guy I kept it there. I kept for these guys. I kept it there. I want to have another one where they don't use consonants together next to each other, and it's probably gonna be this one. So monomot. Oh, and then another thing is what I like to do. So I speak English, I speak Turkish, and I speak German. And in Turkish, there's a bunch of rules that you need to follow, that the language needs to follow, because there's so much words incoming from other languages in Turkish. Like one word I remember was like selfie. When selfie got popular, Turkish people start using selfie, and there's a government service. I don't know what it's called, but their entire mission is to keep the Turkish language intact, keep it original, and yeah, so like keep the Turkish language intact. So Turkish people start using selfie, and that service, that branch, created a brand new word, a brand new Turkish word to describe a selfie. And that Turkish word followed every single rule that the Turkish language had. And one of those rules is, and the reason those rules exist is because Turkish people speak a type of way. You can give them English, German, Arabic words, but they're going to pronounce it how they're used to. And the rules for the Turkish language enforce the words look like and behave like the way you speak. So, like in Turkish, we pronounce everything how we read it or how it's written, right? So in English, you can write something one way and you can have a million different pronunciations of it. Or some letters can make different sounds in different words, and Turkish doesn't have that. That's because the Turkish have strict rules that they need to follow. I'm following one of those rules within I'm trying to follow one of those rules within my words, which is this. If you have vowels in your word, which you will always have vowels in your word, have vowels. If you're using, well, let me do it like this. I, E, A, O, U. If you have I in your word, you can only use, or the vowel I in your word, you can only use I and E. I and E. If you have E, E in your word, you can either do I and E again, or you can do E and A. Oops. If you have A in your word, you can either do E and A again, or you can do A and O. If you have O, you can do A and O or O and U. So you can only use what's right next to that word, that vowel in this list. And that just creates like a smoother word. I don't know how to say it, but you don't jump from I, like vena lit, the I there. You don't jump from something as elegant as the E sound to something very like bold as O. So it creates some kind of harmony within the word. That's what I'm trying to do. So like here, venelit, I used E, E, and I. Anadon, I used A and E. Dohkona, O and A. Yeah. Here, O, A. Yeah, like that. That's the rule. So I don't like this word yet. It reminds me of Mormon, which I don't have any problem with Mormons, but that's not the feeling I'm going for. Mon. So more, they start with a M-O. That's what I'm going to change. I'm going to do M-A. Manamot. Manamot. Mountain. Mount. Manamot. Mount. Monastery. Mount. I'm going to keep this for now. I might change it later on, but It also takes time. I make words and then the next day I completely change it, because the next, like, I would like a word, I would create a word and I would like it, and then next day I would look at it and like, it's like, why would I even think that was good, right? So it changes over time. I changed Tepra like a billion times, and this is the results. This is what I ended up on. Pyro. I can also maybe, instead of having like a full like nation here, I can add more variety, like more elements into my world by like saying, oh, this area is like dangerous, nobody settles here. Mm. Pyro. These guys are, oops. So bad at making circles. There. These guys are Manamot. P is I. Pionet. 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 No. Not Pionet. Um. Payetet. It. Payeten. Oh, and then another thing I do is I go on to Google and I search them, make sure they don't have a bad meaning. Okay. Or if they're like an actual real world place, I make sure it's okay. It's acceptable to use the name of that place if it fits the theme. If it's not too popular, I can just use it. But like Manamet, like it already exists in Massachusetts. The spelling is different, but gives the same. It's basically the same vocals. So I would consider them the same thing. So I might want to change this a little bit. Monomach. How about this? Manomore. Manomore. Manor. Seems pretty unique. Okay. Not getting much. Manomore. Where's Manomore? There's a YouTube channel called Manomore. And then I ask other people to pronounce it for me, and if they're like having a hard time pronouncing it, if it looks weird, I just change the word. Because I want people to be able to pronounce the words. If they can't do it, then what's the point of creating it? Payeton. Payeton. Peyote. Peyote is a small spineless cactus which contains psychoactive alkaloids, particularly mescaline. Peyote is a Spanish word derived from Nahuatl peyotl, meaning caterpillar cocoon, from a root peony to glisten. Okay. Why don't I peyote? Why didn't I just take that? I like that. Nation in central Tepra, and then nation in south southeast Tepra, and then this guy is actually west Tepra. Got west, north, south. Let's call this just south then. South and central. North. Okay. What's the place in League of Legends called? What Rift? League Wild Rift? League of Legends Rift. Why is it called Wild Rift? I feel like no, that's the name of the game, the mobile game. Howling Abyss, was it that? What is this? Howling Abyss. I think this is the other game mode. Yeah, it's that thing. Summoner's Rift, that's what it's called. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm not using the same names as this game because I know they're called something Rift. Well, they're called Summoner's Rift. So I took they have Summoner's Rift and they have Howling Abyss. I took Abyss and I took Rift. Basically, that's what happened. That's what looks like happened. Yeah. Okay. We got Peyote, Manamar, Dorkonach, Anadeln, and Venelit. Abyssal Rift. I'm gonna also change this one. The reason, I like this name, Abyssal Rift. The reason I might change it is, I'm trying to follow, some. I want them to be similar to Tepra. Like Tepra is the name of the continent. It's a word that's probably going to be very old. And Abyssal Rift is straight up English. It's something we would say. So it doesn't fit the world as much as like Tepra or Manamor, Dakana, Anadel, Vanilla. So I might change this to something that references something in the Conjurance world. So yeah. What was I doing now? Anadel, Beauty, and how did I type this? Okay. I'm already having trouble, so I'm probably gonna change this Manamor. The nations of Tepra are divided and must unite. That's more story than setting. Are divided. Ages ago, the nomads of Tepra have crossed the abyssal rift and formed the nation of Venelit. Today, they have crossed it once again with intention to conquer. The nations of Tepra are divided. Are divided. I think that's a good setting. I don't know what else it needs. What's the setting? What's the story? Okay, I'm gonna keep the setting as this for now. I'm gonna start working on that. The story. The sophisticated crafts of magic have been forgotten by most. What little understanding left is practiced by the blood forgers who fuel the war of Tepra by conjuring relentless armies. Okay. Fuel. Can change this a little bit. Practiced by the blood forgers who fuel the war of who. Anadone must unite the nation. Throne. Anadone must unite the thrones of Tepra to fight back against the invading forces of Venelit. Is that enough? The sophisticated crafts of magic have been forgotten by most. What little understanding left is practiced by the blood forgers who fuel the war of Tepra by conjuring relentless armies. Anadel must unite the thrones of Tepra to fight back against the invading forces of Vanalit. It's not bad. You know, I think that's a good starting point. Ages ago, the nomads of Tepra have crossed the Abyssal Rift to form the nation of. Okay, why is Venelit invading? I'm just gonna take a picture, screenshot, and put this here. Can I make it smaller? Why is it huge? Yeah, forgot to put this. There. Okay. I think that's enough for today. At least that's enough streaming for today. Tomorrow at what day is it today? It's Tuesday. Tomorrow at 1 p.m. I'll continue the movement script, the conjuring script, creating the setting and the story of the game. I'll probably work a little more off stream, and tomorrow I'll update you guys. The Discord link is in the chat if you want to join the Discord server, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.